All right, let's get into some basketball. There's a rivalry brewing out here between the Phoenix Suns and New Orleans Pelicans. Like, if you haven't been paying attention, these two teams seem like they really dislike each other at this point. These last two games, they played back-to-back against each other. New Orleans Pelicans have got the best of the Phoenix Suns in those two matchups. And Zion Williamson had this amazing 360 dunk. At the end of the game, it was in the final seconds. It was completely unnecessary in terms of the outcome of the basketball game. And it seemed to have been a part of a cause for these two teams to have a scuffle on the court after the game. Now, a lot of people think that this kind of rivalry that is going on now started because of that dunk. But this went back to last year when the Phoenix Suns were without Zion Williamson and had to play in that playoff series. And they pushed the Phoenix Suns, who a lot of people believe to be the favorite to win the West at the time that year. They pushed into 6 games, and it was kind of a big deal because this was a young New Orleans Pelicans team, and it was a shocking deal to everybody. So for the Phoenix Suns, you could say that's a little bit embarrassing. And so the Phoenix Suns won that series, but now this year with Zion back, it seems like the New Orleans Pelicans have the Phoenix Suns number at this point. And let's go into that dunk of, the unwritten rule in sports. There's always these unwritten rules that you have to follow. Let's listen to Zion on what he said about this 360 dunk.
I was in that locker room. My brothers were down because, the Suns sent us home last year. That's a tough moment to be a part of. So in that moment, I got carried away. I admit that.
Now, he goes on to say how this dunk was out of character for him, and he wouldn't be mad if the Suns did the same thing if they were ahead in the game late. But I think what is happening now between these two teams, that dunk, it inspired a lot. And I love it. I love what's happening. This rivalry is what the NBA needs. There's always seems to be 2 or 3 teams in the NBA season that are having like these rivalries, and they go on for a couple years. The Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers. You had the Bulls in Detroit back when Michael was there. You had the Bulls and the Utah Jazz. But there hasn't been necessarily a rivalry at this point because the Golden State and the Cavaliers are not rivals anymore. With LeBron James gone and some of those Warrior players out of their prime, they're not rivals anymore. Golden State and OKC isn't really a rivalry anymore. OKC still has disdain for Golden State, but that's long gone with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant off the team now. And so this is what the NBA needs. 2 teams that are really good at basketball, 2 teams where the games could always go either way, and 2 teams that dislike each other on the court and can be entertainment for these fans. Now, before this season, I deemed the New Orleans Pelicans as a really good team and a team that's going to be a problem in the future for a lot of teams. I said they're not contenders this year. They will be in 2 or 3 years like the Cleveland Cavaliers when they get, older and mature more. But man, they're changing my mind right now. These New Orleans Pelicans, they can be contenders right now. I mean, they already are. They're contenders right now. There's no reason to believe they can't win an NBA championship. Now, I do think the NBA champion is going to come out of the East this year, either Boston or Milwaukee. But I don't think you can write anybody off at this point, especially the New Orleans Pelicans and especially the Phoenix Suns. People thought the Phoenix Suns would be dropping off this year with Chris Paul getting older and all the uproar they had in their offseason with their owner and DeAndre Ayton. And so this is one of the most fun things that can happen right now. This is one of the most fun things that can happen. These two teams playing inspired and emotional basketball. Everybody wins in this situation. The fans, the NBA, and these two teams. Everybody wins here. Everybody wins. It's amazing. Thanks for watching this video. If you like that content, go look at some of my older videos. I talked about the Phoenix Suns. I talked about the New Orleans Pelicans. Go check it out. Also, I have a podcast called the Rip Jersey Podcast. If you want more content, we talk about football, basketball, baseball, all the sports. It's all on any podcast app that you have. Go check it out. Thanks.